Let's try a few more linear equation examples. First example says -2 times the quantity x plus 1 plus 7x equals 5x plus 5. All right, now in this video I'm going to assume that we're already familiar with how to solve a linear equation. If for some reason you're not sure of how to solve a linear equation, you probably need to go back and watch the video first on our instructions, our steps on how to solve linear equations. But anyways, step one is to simplify both sides of the equation before you begin. So when I say that, I mean do things like distribute any constants times any binomials that you may have, combine any like terms, get rid of any fractions, that sort of thing. So here I think we'd start by having -2x minus 2, that's -2 times x and -2 times 1, plus 7x equals, and 5x plus 5 is already simplified. On the left hand side I see -2x and a 7x. Those will combine to be 5x minus 2 equals 5x plus 5. Next step, as we well know, is to move the variables to one side and move the constants to the other side. So the next step, I think we'd subtract 5x from one side, which will remove it from one side, and we'll subtract 5x from the other. Now an interesting thing happens in this example. We subtract 5x from both sides and we get -2 equals 5, which, two things. First of all, that's not even right. -2 is not 5. And second of all, there's no more variables. And so what happens a lot of times when a student tries this type of example, they think that they've done something incorrect. And so they look back through their work and they make sure everything's right and they can't find any mistakes, when in fact we did everything correct. This type of equation here is what's called a contradiction. And we actually discuss contradictions specifically in one of our other videos. So if you want to watch that one, you're welcome to help explain this a little bit more. But basically what this means is that this equation here does not have any solutions. In other words, there is no x value, period, that will make -2 be 5. -2 is not 5, and there's no x that can make it be any different. And so this guy has no solutions. Another way you could express the fact that this is a contradiction or that there's no solutions is you can write that the solution set is the empty set, or you can just put empty curly braces, which indicates that your solution set has nothing inside of it. Another word that some textbooks will use to indicate this situation that we're in is they will call this type of equation inconsistent. And that simply means that it's a contradiction and that there's no solutions for this equation. So there's a lot of different ways to say what we're trying to say. It just kind of depends on your particular instructor, your particular textbook. Our next example, we have 9w plus 1 equals 3w minus the quantity 3w minus 6w plus 4. All right, so step one is to simplify both sides. 9w plus 1 is already simplified. And then we'll have 3w, and then we'll distribute this negative, this minus sign, -3 plus 6w plus 4, and then we can combine the 3w and the 6w to give us 9w, and -3 plus 4 to give us plus 1. So we'll have 9w plus 1 equals 9w plus 1. Move the variables to one side and move the constants to the other, as we well know. Subtract 9w from both sides, and another funny thing happens. Here the 9w's cancel, and so you get 1 equals 1, which kind of feels like the last example, but with one difference. -2 was never equal to 5, but 1 is always equal to 1. So it's not a contradiction. What this is saying is that there's no value for w that would not make this true. In other words, this is always true. So as far as your solution goes, you can say all real numbers, right? That means in English, this is a symbol that means all real values, and it has infinitely many solutions. Any value of W would make this equation be true, where in the previous example, any value of X you could possibly choose would not make this equation be true. So there's a word for this type of equation, like contradiction on the last page. This type of equation is called an identity. So identities and contradictions are a little bit more rare than your normal linear equation that has one solution, but we should at least be familiar with them because there is a good chance we'll see these guys from time to time.